Well, Shane, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here, fellas.
Great to have you, mate.
So great to have you here. Shane Nicholas, new partner of Independent Wealth Partners. I guess the idea of today is really just to have a conversation about your background, who you are, that sort of thing, and then just so our clients can get to know the new partner, one of the new partners. So, Shane, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a little bit scared after that intro because I'm not that interesting, so it's probably going to be the reality. But so a little bit of background about myself. Married with 2 kids, full catastrophe, 10 and 12 at the moment. And I am definitely the most boring person in the house, my wife being a paramedic. So dinner conversations are very much about, what did you do to Mum? Saved a life. What I did today was far less interesting in the eyes of a 10 and 12-year-old. So needless to say, my world centres around the household unit at the moment.
Yep. Yeah, good call. So financial planning, we've actually known each other a long time, but so I know your background, I know Chris does as well. We're keen to understand for you why financial planning.
I'll share a slight story. I was actually intending to try and do architecture when I was in high school.
Is that right?
And my dad gave me a very wise piece of counsel and said, look, I'm not sure you're that good at it. So he was very blunt, in fact. And so subsequently I was also studying accounting, and I thought that might be a pathway that I'd pursue. But I did personally find the forward-looking aspect of financial planning to be far more interesting. So I actually went to uni and studied Bachelor of Business in Financial Planning, so it's been my first choice as a career from the beginning. So I've been at it for about 20 years, and I think it's a really wonderful, rewarding space to work with. As we know, we get insights and get to work with amazing people, which I know personally I'm very grateful for, because they share so many things with us, and you're forever reminded, you know, what matters most is not often the things that we intuitively think matters. It's those little details that you pick up in conversation with so many people. But so that's a little bit of background as to how I got into financial planning. The last 20 odd years, I've been self-employed for a long period of time. I do get involved in the industry a little bit. I've written exams and assignments for Certified Financial Planner program for about 10 years.
10 years now, wow.
Yeah, it's like I think it's one of those areas that, you know, historically speaking, the quality of advisor has been, I would say, lacking a little bit, politely. And you know, a choice that I made was that's, you know, an area that I can actually help use my skills to try and improve in some respects by writing good quality exams and lecturing. I lecture a lot in certain programs. And now, more recently, I spend a bit of time in Financial Planning Association Policy and Regulations Committee.
Right.
And that's, to me, is a new journey from my perspective, and it's been really quite insightful, because you can kind of get a direct line to Treasury and sort of government about feedback on policy and the like. And I've learned a lot by just engaging with other people and sort of seeing what happens in that space. So, yeah, I think financial planning industry is an amazing place, and certainly feel very lucky to be able to, you know, kind of apply skills in different areas.
Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, and I think that gives everyone a bit of insight too, in terms of our attraction to wanting you to become part of the business. You know, everything you've just outlined there really speaks to that. So, you know, I'm excited for the capabilities and additional qualities that you bring to the business that sort of enhance what, you know, Cam and I had already. So it's pretty exciting, actually. So, and I think based on that description, clients should be pretty excited too.
I look forward to meeting, you know, clients along the way, and, you know, I know we sort of had a discussion about, you know, why did I choose IWP and how did we come to be, and I think the independence is really such a cornerstone of
Absolutely.
Advice, and, you know,
Critically important.
I think we're all biased in this audience, of course.
Yes.
But, you know, obviously we've seen so many horror stories out there, and you know, I feel very proud to be independent advisor, and you know, more broadly, you know, working with people who've got a similar belief set and value set, I think is really quite amazing as well. So, yeah, I too am excited for the journey with Independent Wealth Partners, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so do we. A lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Clients, who do you typically work with? What would define your typical client, I suppose?
So I think, you know, I sort of try and break it up into kind of 3 separate categories. So Luke Axton and I, who I'm sure you all meet along the way, we've spent a lot of time working together with small businesses.
Yep.
And it's an area that I love enormously, because I think there's so many moving parts in a small business, and helping them kind of navigate that and divesting their wealth out of a business, I think is really an interesting pathway for people to pursue.
Yep.
We work historically with private investors and families, because those who have accumulated some capital and need some help guiding what they do with it, where they invest it, how they navigate times like today is key. And also, I don't really like the phrase of high income earners, but people who are kind of accumulating and trying to build themselves into a position of strength down the track. I kind of get a bit of a buzz out of helping people who've kind of got that aspirational component of their DNA.
Yeah. Great, thanks, mate. So, look, one last question, if you don't mind, and you've seen the previous four, and he's prepared for the previous four, I'm going to say. And of course, we can cut it out if it's inappropriate. If you won Tats Lotto today, and it was enough money, let's call it $25 million, right? How would you spend your time?
That's a good question. Don't know. Haven't
He's
thought
buying
about
time.
Look, I think at the end of the day, I think we've all got to love what we do, right? And I don't know that I'd actually change, or I hope I wouldn't change the way in which I live today, because life has to have purpose. And one thing that we're very lucky in our job is that we get to see what is purposeful for people. And often those who have accumulated a massive amount of capital still have a purpose somewhere else.
Yep.
But one thing I would love to pursue if I had more time and capacity would be philanthropy. I think that'd be a really amazing space to spend a lot more time, effort and energy, sort of making a difference in other people's lives that haven't got the chance to do it for themselves.
It's really interesting, and I guess this is maybe going to lift the veil a little bit on this, because we've just recorded a conversation with Luke and asked him the same question. And his response was quite similar. And then once we stopped recording, Cam sort of piped up and said, well, my response would be quite similar. And my response is also exactly the same. So it's just, I find it interesting in that, we talk about with each other and I guess externally to other people about how our values and mindset is aligned, and I think it's really easy just to say that.
It is.
It's really interesting to me that independent of that conversation, we've all subsequently, with no context, come to that same point, which is really interesting. And I just think it's a good indication for clients and whoever's listening to this that we are all kind of on the same page. We're going in the same direction, and we really do have the same value sets and beliefs, which is just I think it's great.
It's a very good foundation for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, mate. Look, well, welcome.
Thank you.
We're privileged to have you here, and
definitely.
We respected you for a long time, and really looking forward to working together in the next eons of time. we're not defining it. It could be hundreds of years.
Indeed. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to meeting everyone in the weeks and months ahead.
Awesome. All right. Thank you.
Thanks
everyone.
Ciao.